I'm Amanda Sankara,
And I'm Ria Abraham,
and you're watching The Fast Breakdown.
your weekly women's hoops coverage. So last Wednesday, on the 21st, the WNBA released the schedules for the 2026 season, and the Wings' first game is actually against the Fever, so we might get a Paige and Caitlin game.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for that. I mean, they've been kind of competitors since college, and again, going to the WNBA, they only had one game against each other last year. I was so sad. I actually watched all four of them, even though they had only one game against each other. But super excited this year. I'm supposing both of them are healthy and not injured. This is going to be a really cool rivalry to track. And again, the first game is them, so looking forward to that. And that kind of leads us into our topic for today. Today, we're going to kind of be talking about the Paige and Caitlin rivalry and kind of unpacking what both of them are good at and what makes their matchup super exciting to watch. So I actually got into women's hoops through the 2024 NCAA. I think it was the Final Four between UConn and Iowa. And that was a really exciting game, but their rivalry had actually dated all the way back to their freshman year, again in the NCAA tournament where Iowa went against UConn, and UConn actually blew them out at around like 20 points. But Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers were both rising stars at this time. Caitlin averaged crazy numbers. Paige averaged crazy numbers. But Paige was more efficient. She was on the team that advanced further. I think they got to the Final Four before they lost. And she won the Player of the Year, National Player of the Year award, which had never been won by a freshman before. So Paige was, again, the one that was more covered by the media in their freshman year. But they didn't really go against each other head-to-head because of Paige's injuries up until their senior year during the NCAA tournament, where they faced off again in the Final Four. UConn had like an injured squad, whereas like Iowa was healthy and they had a lot of momentum going into it because they were the underdogs. And it was a really close game. I think the game score ended up being like 69-71 or something like that. And it was a really close game. And neither of them scored too much in that game, but they were really cool to match up against each other. Again, they're both point guards. They're both kind of score first point guards. So it was just really cool to see them. And although Iowa did end up winning, it was a very close match up until the very end. In the final play, which is where Caitlin bounced the ball off of Paige's back, that one is a really viral thing. I think everyone's seen that where it's like Paige is like small and like Caitlin's like bigger in the picture, and then they're both like staring at each other, and that just like kind of encapsulates like what the media has like presented to us as their rivalry. But that's kind of their college days. Again, since Paige was injured so much, she wasn't really able to play that much in college. But from what they had there, it was super exciting. They broke us Final Four viewership record actually for their game in 2024. So just seeing that momentum carry into the WNBA is super special, and they're definitely like the Larry Bird,
Magic Johnson?
Magic Johnson comparison.
Yeah, so coming into the WNBA, they both were already very popular star players. They were back-to-back number one picks, Paige Bueckers this year, and then Caitlin Clark the previous year. But like Mela stated, we never really got to see them playing against each other due to Caitlin's injuries this year. You know, she had all those injuries earlier and then now back-to-back groin injuries. So we only got to see them play against each other once. So it's hard to compare their seasons this year since Caitlin did not get as much time. So it's easier to compare them by looking at their rookie season stats. So in their rookie seasons, which would be this year for Paige and last year for Caitlin, they both averaged around the same number of minutes, and they actually averaged the same number of points exactly, 19.2, both of them, which is kind
I
of
think a lot
crazy.
of that's thanks to Paige Bueckers' 44-point game. I think before that and like after that, she kind of went into a little of a scoring drought, but like that game definitely propelled her. I think
Yeah.
Clark was a little more consistent with the scoring. Like she did have a few like 35-point games and stuff like that, but she was a little more consistent than Bueckers was.
Yeah. Packers did have that like long double-digit scoring record, but of course you only need 10 for a double-digit, right? And then, so we kind of see similar, like neither of them really do blocks. They have a few steals. And then the real difference comes, I think, in turnovers and then assists. Paige Bueckers averages 3 less assists than Caitlin, and she also averages 3.6 turnovers less. And so I think Caitlin Clark is definitely really good at assisting, really good at passing, but also it is easier to have great assists when you have great teams. When you have Aaliyah Boston in the paint, it's really easy to get good assists, but she definitely is really skilled in that department. And she also has been struggling with turnovers once since coming to the WNBA, and I think also a little bit in college.
Yeah, and I think through that you kind of see the two different players that are there. There's the risk takers, the people that throw those crazy long passes, and Caitlin Clark's one of those people. Like, yeah, she does average a lot of turnovers, but also lots of assists, lots of made buckets. She's like accountable for like 50 to 60% of her team's points nearly every single night. Paige Bueckers is a little more silent. She is a silent assassin. When we went to a Valkyries game, actually, she wasn't too dominant in the game, but she still finished with 17 points, and she was great. But she's not really super like potent in the games. I feel like she does have an impact, and there are a few games where she really does come alive. But most of the time, she shoots when she can, she passes when she can, but she's not super dominant in the way that Caitlin Clark is.
She definitely needs those big scorers around her like she had at UConn to really succeed. As we saw, the Wings weren't super successful this year, even though they got Paige Becker, since they didn't have a lot of pieces around her that she definitely needed to succeed.
Right, and Paige is, someone that succeeds in the pick and roll, and one of the number 1 pick people next year is projected to be, I know AZ is one of them, but also Awa Pham, who's from Valencia, and, she's someone that would definitely help Paige and kinda give her a reliable big. Because I think right now they have Lee Yuru. She's good, but she actually shoots a lot more from the perimeter than she does in the paint. Like, she's definitely a lot more convertible there, so there's that. And then Louisa Geisel-Soter, she's also pretty decent, but again, I think playing a little out of position in Dallas. So
Yeah,
there's,
I
I
agree.
think, a lot of improvement to be made in their bigs department. And Caitlin has Aaliyah Boston, Natasha Howard, people that are reliable. And, Howard was in Dallas last year. She was pretty good there as well. So just having those reliable people that Paige currently doesn't have. So the assist numbers are just a little bit, they don't tell the full story right now, but they could in the future.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell what's really gonna happen to the future considering this freeze on free agency right now, right? We're not seeing where people are gonna be. We don't really know what these teams are gonna look like next year, but hopefully Paige will have what she needs to succeed, and hopefully Caitlin will be back from her injury and ready to go at it.
Dallas, I think they might be able to, I mean, assuming the new CBA gets written, which I hope it does. I mean, they released the schedules. I took that as a confirmation that they are nearing a deal, but I could be wrong about that. I'm not sure. But
Hopefully, I mean,
again,
it's been so long already.
yeah, they've extended it so many times, so it's kind of hard to tell. But I think looking at free agency for Dallas, they have a lot of people on rookie contracts right now. Louisa Geisel-Soter, obviously Paige, Isaiah James, JJ Quinterly. The list like goes on and on and on. Like, they have a lot of people there. Like, I think one of the youngest, or if not the youngest team in the league. So they have a lot of cap space to give out to free agents. They can offer a lot more money. The Fever has, I mean, Caitlin's still on her rookie, and I think
Mhm.
Aaliyah Boston is as
Yeah.
well. But, Kelsey Mitchell taking up a max, and like other, like Natasha Howard probably getting a pretty big salary as well. Sophie Cunningham. I'm not sure if Lexi Hall is still on her rookie contract, but if not, I think she'll be paid like pretty decently as well, given that she's been a pretty good piece for Indiana.
Yeah, I could definitely see Kelsey Mitchell moving since she was so helpful to Indiana late in the season. Like, she is, I would say, the main reason that they got as far as they did in the playoffs. And so we definitely saw who she was this season, like MVP candidate. She got first team. And I think there's going to be lots of teams who are going to be wanting Kelsey Mitchell on their team. And with Caitlin Clark coming back, she might have less of a role on the Fever. So she may be looking to move.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Dallas, again, they really need to get like bigs. I mean, obviously, I don't think they'd be able to get Nafisa Collier or A'ja Wilson or anything like that. They're pretty committed to their teams. But I could definitely see them getting some bigs in free agency. I think almost everyone's in free agency. Like, I really hope they get Alyssa Thomas. I don't know about you, but I'm like,
I do
I'm
not
hoping
think
they will.
Alyssa Thomas is moving though, because she
Yeah,
does
I
seem
don't know
pretty
about
solid. I think she's kind of committed to like the Mercury brand right now. Like they've really been building on her, you
they
know?
have good training facilities, and Dallas, from what I've understood, actually hasn't begun like building their practice facility. Like, they haven't done any work on it. So that's not really that attractive to free agents. Like, they don't have good facilities right now. And I think Satu Sabli actually said that they like just didn't have good facilities. And again, she wasn't really treated that well in Dallas Dallas, which caused her to move to Phoenix to the Mercury. So I think on that part, the incentive there is to play with Paige. It's not really much else. Like knowing that in a few years you have a good contention chance, but like currently the conditions are not that
They're
great
definitely
there, so it's
rebuilding right
really up
now.
to her.
So, talking about Paige versus Caitlyn, one thing that Caitlyn is really good at is her clutch shooting and coming clutch towards the end of games, whereas it's not something that Paige is really excelled in, I would say.
Yeah, I think multiple times last season, in the 2024 season, we saw Caitlyn kind of will herself to win games, like will the whole team, like in a game actually with the Wings. Again, she kind of takes over the game and like scores those clutch buckets. And is she the most efficient player? Not really. Although on that topic, I think her and Paige actually have really similar shooting splits. But yeah, she might not be like a super efficient player, like her shot selection is not amazing, but she has that like gene where she goes and she wants to make that basket. She's going to. She really wants her team to win. Not that Paige doesn't, but her clutch performance has kind of been all over the place. They had a lead over the Las Vegas Aces last year, which they kind of it was a 16-point lead, completely fell through. Foul, foul, foul. No one took over the game. No one kind of stepped up and took that game over. But I think later in that season, they had a game against the Valkyries, one of their last games. The Dallas Wings almost won. Paige had 27. She was scoring, scoring, scoring in the fourth quarter. So I think that's something she has to work on in her game, and she's getting continually better at it. But it's, again, something that's kind of a main distinguishing factor between them. Like one may be more efficient, but the other one kind of wills her teams to wins. And at the end of the day, the win-loss record is what people are paying attention to more than your shooting splits.
So the Fever and the Wings were two teams which were heavily hit by injury late in the season, and they had to have a lot of last minute additions, which is why it was so surprising that the Fever made it as far as they did in the playoffs, making it they beat the Dream with this like last minute addition team. But so they had people like Odyssey Sims who stepped up, and she really had a big part, as well as obviously Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. But so their last minute additions were people like Odyssey Sims, Bree Hall, Chloe Bibby, Aerial Powers, and some of those also got injured after they got added, which was a whole other story, but they were like it was really crazy. And then the Wings had people like Amy Okonkwo, the trade where they got Diamond Miller for Dejanay Carrington, and they also had some last minute changes, but not to the same extent. And while we did see Amy Okonkwo really do her thing in late games, obviously it wasn't going to change anything about the status of the team since they had already lost so many games. And you can't really tell if the games late in the season are truly an indicator of the actual team, since a lot of the teams that they played were playoff teams that were sitting out starters for majorities of the games. But we definitely saw potential in some of these new additions. So hopefully we will see some of that in the next season with the Wings and when they get some more people coming on. So, as we all know, Paige Bueckers is currently playing an Unrivaled, doing a phenomenal job on the breeze, having some really good games. And so she's definitely going to see a lot of improvement and development over getting this experience, this 3-on-3 experience, which is something that Caitlin Clark isn't getting since she is not playing in the off season. I think she isn't really injured right now, but she's probably more focused on rest and recovery, and also just she's not playing right now competitively. So we definitely could see maybe a difference when they come back, since Caitlin hasn't been playing off season.
Right, and a lot of that stems from the fact that, I mean, neither players really need the money. Obviously, they're millionaires. They really don't need it compared to other WNBA players. But Caitlyn, especially with all her endorsements and sponsorships, has no reason and no need to play in off-season leagues, even if they really do need her. Like Unrivaled's viewership, as we talked about last episode, is not doing super great right now, and just the addition of her there would really help. Again, I don't think she's going to be joining any off-season leagues anytime soon. She's a really big name, almost it feels like too big for these leagues, unfortunately. So she's probably
Yeah,
not
and
going
if
to get.
she got injured in one of these leagues and was missing the WNBA season, that would really hurt her career. So I definitely don't think she would be doing any of these.
Playing in off season. Yeah.
Mhm.
And, Paige she is doing really good right now. And I'm starting to see her do something she didn't do last season, which is take threes. She did not take that many threes last season. She, at some point, like averaging like less than two attempts or two attempts per game. And a player of her caliber should be attempting at least 6 or 7 threes per game. So I think that's something that she's adding on to her game on Rival, and she can definitely add that into her WNBA thing. And I think Caitlin, she takes those threes.
Yeah, she's
She
known
doesn't
for
do that
her
much
pretty
in the
statistics.
mid-range. If Paige
Mhm.
is able to add on the 3 game that she had in college, had in high school, she can definitely add it on. It's not something that's not in her skill set, just something she's not used to yet. If she's able to tack that on, then it is pretty close. It is head-to-head, square-to-square matchup that I think is gonna be for the ages to watch, you know?
Yeah, she's just gotta take that step back.
Something recent that has come up with the Paige Caitlin rivalry, well, I guess not rivalry so much anymore because they're gonna be playing on the same team, but is the Team USA situation. Obviously, both of them are point guards. You know, Caitlin, again, as we mentioned earlier, averaging more assists, and then Paige having better shooting splits. Rhea, what do you think about them starting or not starting?
So I definitely think the starting lineup is not set in stone, right? So we have Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark, who both have played point guard. That's like their main role, right? And I think that they might go for Paige Bueckers shooting guard and Caitlin Clark point guard, which is like, they have great point guards such as Chelsea Gray, but when the Olympics comes around, they might not necessarily be this.
Utilizing her, she's gonna be old by then. Sorry, that's mean, but she's gonna be kind of old by then. I don't know if she'd even wanna
Yeah,
play.
the team is definitely leaning younger. We have a lot of new people, college students, right? USA is one of the teams that sends college students out to international competitions, right? So Paige Bueckers is someone who's pretty good off ball compared to Caitlin Clark. I think she is much better on ball. Her defense isn't the best, and she's really her strong point is on ball, setting up plays, shooting, and then getting the assist.
Neither of them are actually very good defensive guards. Like all the
Yes.
both of them, they get cooked a lot on defense. Like, I mean, as guards coming into the rookie year, like they're typically not supposed to be that good. They're just average rookie defenders. It's what's expected. But neither of them, like unlike Sonia Citron, who's a pretty good lockdown defender, they don't really have that. So that's not really too much of a distinguishing factor between them. But again, what Rhea said, the on and off ball movement, I think starting Paige as point guard might not be the best idea when you have Caitlin there, who's a lot better at setting her teammates up. And then if Chelsea Gray is still playing at the caliber she is now, then like putting her in as well. But I think Paige and shooting guards like Jackie Young, Juju Watkins could definitely go head to head, and I think Paige could come out on top with her shot selection and off ball movement.
So Paige and Caitlin are two people with huge star powers, right? Personally, I'm a little bit more of a Paige Bueckers fan, considering she's who really brought me into the WNBA. But I know that Caitlin Clark brought in a huge audience with her. And uh, when people bring fans in, it's normally not just about their presence on the court, though that's definitely important. They're both phenomenal players, but also their personalities off the court and their actions off the court.
And Caitlin Clark, something about her that we have not really seen with a lot of WNBA players is she kind of transcends the world of like WNBA, the world of basketball. The same way players like LeBron James, Steph Curry do. She's actually right behind them in jersey sales. She's like her presence completely transcends the sport. And while Paige is popular, very popular on social media, she really hasn't reached that level yet. And we can kind of see that reflected in their ticket sales and their arenas. So Caitlin Clark currently plays in the
Yeah, the Indiana Fever plays at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, which holds 18,000 people, similar to like Chase Center that the Valkyries play at. And the Wings play at College Park Center, which only holds 7,000 people, which is huge distinction, right? And whenever the Fever are at away games, like that's normally the game that sells the best for that team because everyone wants to come and see Caitlin Clark. You look in the audience, you'd be like, whose game is this? Because you'll
who
see
is
so
like
many people.
everyone's wearing her jerseys. No one's wearing like anyone else's jerseys. Everything is Clark, 22 Clark, which is great, obviously, that there's a person that's like everyone loves. She's a superstar, but also, more attendance for other teams.
And it's not just the Wings with much smaller arenas. Like a lot of teams, like the Wings, the Dream, the Sky, the Sun, the Aces, and the Mystics have moved their home games, which are against the Fever, due to the large demand to like bigger arenas with like 10,000 plus seats. I think the smallest arenas, the Mystics, they have like 4,000, 4,200 seats, which is like the contrast between these arenas is really something.
Even though everyone knows that Caitlin Clark has transcended the game of basketball, although Paige Bueckers isn't there yet, she's getting there. I mean, when we went to the Valkyrie's game, versus the Wings, we saw a lot more Paige Bueckers jerseys than anyone else, and of course, that might be due to the fact that the Valkyries don't have a clear star right now, like, they have a lot of players, a lot of really good players, but a lot of them just aren't, like they don't possess the star power that, like, the big names, Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, Caitlin Clark do, but when we went there, we saw, like, a lot of Paige Bueckers jerseys,
Yeah,
everyone was
I think I saw a UConn jersey too, which is, like, crazy, like, you definitely see
crazy.
all her fans. And yeah, the Valks, they've got, because most of the players that they got through the expansion draft, great players, but they weren't the biggest thing in their team, which is why a lot of them came over, right? So we had, like, people who had their stars on their team, so they never stood out as much, but now they come here, and they really get the chance to have more of that load in the game time. So now we're gonna move on to another segment where we talk about ourselves. So first, we're gonna talk about some of our hobbies. So Mida, what's one of your hobbies?
I play the saxophone and I play the bassoon sometimes,
What type
or
of
I guess that might be the other way
saxophone?
around. Huh?
What type of saxophone? The tenor saxophone, Mida! The tenor
The tenor
saxophone.
the
The
tenor
tenor
saxophone.
saxophone.
Yeah,
Okay.
I play instruments, I guess that's something about me, but, trying to think. I write sometimes, that's, like, a thing I like to do, but other than that, I'm not an interesting person. have nothing about me
Oh,
that's remotely
absolutely.
interesting.
So now let's move on to me, everybody. So I really like to read, crochet, sing. That's kind of my thing. So if you can see back here, this is a little WNBA towel.
She crocheted a WNBA, like, little
I made this
tapestry, and
for
she wanted to put it
I
behind on
made
her
them.
background.
So they're not meant to be like touched. I don't normally mess with them.
Oh, yeah, she crochets actually, I have this, like, thing that she gave me, it's like a purple dinosaur because my favorite color is purple, and I named it Bronte, so that's something she does, it's something I do. And then I think a basketball-related question is, if you were drafted number 1 pick and, like, obviously, instead of, like, the team drafting you, what about,
I
like,
draft them because
you
I'm just not
draft them? I
important.
don't know what the word is, but, like, you get to choose which team you played on and where would you go, and this is, like, not based on, like, the players or anything, it's just, like, based on, like, the vibes.
My based on the vibes, I
The
mean,
vibes.
I would want to go to New York, right? New York Liberty is just, based on the vibes, I would want to live in New York. What about you?
I'm a Valkyries. I mean, obviously,
Oh,
like, it's my home team, I have to, but also, I don't their vibes are great, like, the Ball Hollow vibes, purple, favorite color, like, everything about them is just so perfect. I have a dream that maybe, like, one day I can play basketball and, like, be a Valkyrie, like, maybe an honorary Valkyrie, like, no one plays defense on me, and then I, like, score a bucket, and then, like, the
yeah, you
other
can be
team
like
can
the
all
person who like hits the drum at the beginning.
I was thinking of maybe being one of those, like, people that, like,
Maybe they'll let
what
me sing the anthem at one of their games.
you should actually apply for that, it's a good idea.
How do you even do that?
How
Gotta
do
figure
you
that
I don't know, but I just remember, like, all the failed national anthems, so good luck on that.
out.
I'm sorry,
You
but
can never be like Fergie.
yeah, you're gonna be like, "Fergie, I'm sorry." But, yeah, I think I'd do the Valkyries. But you should definitely go and sing for them, I would tune into that, I would buy tickets to that game. I mean, I want to for every game, but, like, definitely that game.
We can make this happen. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you liked our little analysis of Paige versus Caitlin, and let us know if there's anything else you want us to cover, or any things you want us to cover about the same topic that we did.
Yeah, let us know, and thanks for watching the Fast Breakdown.